Talk some Browns again, and this topic for the Browns is brought to us by the Living for We podcast. Gun violence is an epidemic. It's the leading cause of death for teenagers. And on this season of Living for We, we're asking what can be done to end cycles of violence in cities like Cleveland, where the shooters value their reputations over their own lives and see innocent bystanders as just collateral damage. Living for We is more than a podcast. It's a resource for communities tired of chaos and ready to build peace. Living for We tells the real stories from those most affected and solutions from change makers in the communities. The mission is simple: empower communities to create safer neighborhoods free from gun violence by highlighting local heroes. Join hosts Marlene Harris-Taylor and Maisha Watkins every other Tuesday for a brand new episode of Living for We. You can find this award-winning show wherever you get your podcasts, and you can watch full episodes by searching for Living for We on YouTube. It's been a busy 48 hours for Shedeur Sanders in Cleveland. He worked out at Browns Fit yesterday morning. He went and ran some hills at a local park. He then just popped by a middle school in the Cleveland Metro School District, and talked to some kids. No press release. This wasn't something that was just a PR stunt. He did it out of the goodwill of his own heart. And here's a little clip from Shedeur talking to the kids yesterday.
How's everybody doing? So I just got to Cleveland. I just got here yesterday. I just wanted to come out and see y'all. We working out every day. We got a purpose. We got something we trying to accomplish and achieve. But what inspires me to keep going, I would say knowing I got a lot of people watching me, knowing that I'm a positive influence to the youth. That's why I say what keeps me going. So like even coming here seeing y'all, it's not like I have to do anything. I choose to do it. You got two ways you could go about it. You could do what you want to do, not listen and see how it pan out, or you could listen to somebody that got your best interest, that wants the best for you, and then go down that route. So everybody has free will in this room, and you know everything may be fun and games now, but whenever real life hit, I don't think it's gonna be that funny if you don't set yourself up the right way. I'm trying to bring Cleveland, of course, a Super Bowl.
Pretty cool move by Shedeur just to pop by a local school yesterday and talk to the kids. Curious what you guys think just of him making that notion to go out of his way to do something in the community like that so early in his Browns tenure.
I think I respect it a lot. I mean, it's crazy how people can hate on a guy like that. You know, I think that for him, he realizes that right now, before he takes a snap or anything for the Cleveland Browns, right now he has a ton of popularity. It's a lot of kids that's risked up, legendary. You heard him saying legendary. And I think for him, he wants to, I think he said I know I got a bunch of people watching me and I want to make sure I am a positive role model and things like that. So, you know, those kids' lives will be impacted. Like, wow, man, we talked to Shedeur Sanders today. Like, you know, and maybe something he said in there, because at this point it's deeper than football. Maybe something he said in there, maybe one of those kids listened and they straightened up, or they was going down the wrong path and they met Shedeur, they heard what he said, and it was like, man, wow. And now they inspired them to change their ways. Like, that to me is much more impactful than anything he could do on the football field. And I think that he probably understands that as well. So it was a powerful move. The fact that there was no press release or anything like that, he definitely did it out the kindness of his heart. He's not doing it for clicks and all of those things. He's doing it because I think he truly does care about the youth and he wants to inspire change.
I love it. I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool. I don't think they're supposed to be here. They're not required to be here.
No, I
yet.
think it was May 7th or something like that.
So the fact that, like, basically the draft ends and he gets on a plane and wants to, like, get involved right away, I think it's great. I don't know how could you think anything else? How could you be upset by anything that you saw?
Because some people would say it's like a PR move, but
no.
It ain't like he put it out. Like, I'm about to go talk to the kid.
Hey, Ty, on that real quick, and this is not to compare one to the other, but we get press releases from the Browns all the time. Player X is going to be here. Player Y is doing this. Even quarterbacks, we've gotten press releases from their team saying quarterback 4 is going to be in this direction. He's going to be talking to this group. Please come cover it. There's nothing yesterday from Shedeur. He did that just by himself. Makes it even cooler.
I was trying to find the Browns off-season program exactly when
May 11th is the first day. May 9th to the 11th. 9th to the 11th.
I know some of the guys are back in.
Is that rookie mini camp? May 9th to 11th?
Rookie mini camp's 9th to 11th.
Okay.
Some of the veterans are back already, but I don't think anyone expects. And they brought the rookies in. The first night guys, they do a press conference with them the next day.
Yeah.
Maybe he has to come in and get a physical or whatever. I just thought it was cool.
But they usually do that. They usually do that like maybe 2 days before the thing.
Yeah. So there would really be no team requirement for him to be here. as
I
fast
mean,
as he
right
was.
now, like if you're a veteran, you're probably lifting and maybe meetings, if that. But like for the most part, you done.
Yeah.
You out of there in like 3 hours.
Shedeur Sanders is under the microscope, unlike really any player we've seen, certainly outside of the first round, that I can recall, right? And he's got a lot of people that love him. There are definitely haters out there.
I just don't understand how you can hate a guy like that.
Because
It's the only way you can hate a guy like that is if one, you feel some type of way about his dad, or you feel that he's cocky on the field, which
I
you
think
want
that's
out,
a lot of it.
which you want out of your quarterback.
there's always going to be haters for anybody that's successful. There's always going to be haters for anybody that comes from a richer family, right? There's a variety of reasons why there's haters. The guy's not done anything wrong. He's not been in trouble. He's not some people perceive him as cocky. To me, I think most people that I meet, most athletes are cocky. That's how you need to be as an athlete, I think. That's how I see it. I know I'm cocky about my job.
I feel like the majority, he's just cocky on the field. Like, I know like in the meetings and all those things, they said he came off that way. But like when you're confident about your craft and what you can do, like why would you not voice that?
It's just going to get publicized more because of who he is, right?
I mean,
the Kelsey brothers on their podcast yesterday went off on the fact that there was a lot of anonymous reports, obviously, and we understand it. People don't want to put their name out there,
They
but
should.
I get it as a player being pissed. Travis Kelsey was going wild on his podcast, like, if there are coaches that said he was crappy in interviews, they should put their name out there and say it.
Have you ever wrote something anonymously?
all the time.
You say like when you just say your statement and don't put your name on it.
I was actually thinking about this morning. It's funny.
Yeah.
I didn't know we were going to go there.
Yeah.
But with anonymous sources, it's up to the writer, first of all, to determine, is this person credible and does this person have an agenda?
Okay.
Right.
If you determine they are credible and they do not have an agenda, you use it.
Okay.
And with where I work now, we have the highest sourcing standards I've ever been associated with because it's the New York Times. I cannot write an anonymous source. My editor will ask me, who's your source? And we have to tell them who the source is. And it's never been that way before in any other job that I have. So our standards are incredibly high and then they determine if it's passed the smell test of whether or not you can use it or not. And I keep going back to the Pelissaro piece before the draft because that's the Tom Pelissaro piece that everyone was up in arms about. I have no idea what the NFL Network's standards are for sourcing. I would imagine they're pretty high. They're kind of along the lines of ours. Mm-hmm. Tom didn't do anything wrong with that report. People get upset as they want, and you could say, well, put your name on it. That's just not how it works because, again, do they have an agenda? Are they trying to smear the kid? The NFL just told you Tom's report was accurate. You may not like it, but the league just told you he was right to write that, to report that, because he fell to the 5th round. And why did he fall? Because of the way that he came off to these teams. So, and I said it the other day, when you're a reporter, when you're in this position, if you don't write that before the draft, and you just sit on it, and you just hold it, and then he falls the 5th round, and then you write, man, he interviewed really poorly, and a lot of teams didn't like the way he came off, everybody throws their hands up and screams, well, why are we just hearing that now? Why didn't you write that before?
It's fair.
And then you write it before the draft, and everyone throws their hands up and says, well, they're just trying to... Sometimes, guys, it's just the truth. It's just the reality of it. And you don't have to like it, but and that's where it comes... It's almost like you have to look at the credibility of the reporter and believe, do you believe them or not? Because the reporter has to determine whether or not they believe the sources or not.
And if Tom Pelissaro is reporting is accurate,
Which it
and
was.
I honestly have no reason to believe it's not, then that's a bad job by Shedeur, and he should have handled these interviews better. Like, you got to be prepared for an interview. You go into an interview for a job, you need to be prepared.
It was something. I just saw this last night. I can't remember. I wish I could remember who to give credit for. That part, like, he didn't have an agent. He didn't hire an agent. He did this on his own. One of the jobs of the agent is to prepare you for those pre-draft interviews.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Shedeur went in completely unprepared.
Nuggets say that?
And give you an idea of
Yes.
where you're realistically going to get drafted.
Who you said that? Bomani Jones?
Said what?
That's not where I heard it. I thought Schefter was doing it.
Well, Bomani had that take. I'm not sure he reported that initially. Diana Rossini talked about it. I'm not sure if that's
No, it
where you
wasn't
got
that.
it from.
But, I mean, you could say, because, like, Lamar's represented himself, and he's never had an agent. He's done just fine for himself financially. But I do think an agent can sort, and you would think Deion, having gone through it, Deion could walk him through the process of, but clearly, Shedeur probably could have used a little bit more prep going into those meetings, and he wasn't prepared.
That's true. And moving forward, now none of that stuff matters.
No,
Right now, it's
nothing you can do about it now.
how hard is he going to work? How good is he? Because the truth is, I said this yesterday, there's no doubt. Whatever happened in these interviews and whatever perceived distraction he is did not take him out of the first round. It dropped him maybe from the 2nd to the 5th or the 3rd to the 5th or the 4th to the 5th. If Shedeur Sanders was a first-round talent, he would have been. Let me correct that. If a team that needed a quarterback thought he was a first-round talent, they still would have drafted him in the first round, Jason. There's been a lot of questionable character guys drafted in the first round. They thought he was a 2nd or a 3rd-round talent, and they said, you know what, it's not worth
the headache.
It's not worth it at that point.
Do you think?
That doesn't mean they're right, but
So let me ask you this: do you think because of what happened
yeah.
with the draft for him and all the attention being that, maybe he wasn't the best in interviews, do you think this is a way of him cleaning up his image?
100%, and he doesn't have to clean it up that much because it's not like his image is that tarnished. It's to me, it's minor blemishes on. Yeah, let's say it's all true. Okay, if the worst thing he did was do a crappy job in the interviews, he's not the first one to do that before. And if he plays well and if he works his ass off, becomes a starter eventually, and plays well, then there's no blemish on his mark. That completely goes away.
He's never been in trouble that I know of.
Yeah,
I've never heard anything about teammates not liking him.
Nope.
So what are we talking about?
Some interviews with some older guys.
So, I said it after the draft that if he had Cam Newton talent, he'd have gone number 1.
Of course.
They don't care about any of that. So I do
Yes.
think that the talent level does play into this.
Yeah.
And maybe the media overvalued what they thought they saw compared to
Yeah.
how the league viewed him.
Yes.
Very possible.
Clearly.
And we'll find out. I mean, I thought Joe Thomas was great. We had Joe on the other day,
Yeah.
and Joe said, like, right away if a guy can,
Right.
instantly
Right.
if a guy belongs or not.
Yeah.
And we'll find out with him. And if he belongs,
Yeah.
the Browns may have, after 25 years of wandering the desert, may have finally run into one.
Right.
And if they didn't, then
You move on like they have done
All
so
I
many
know
times
is
before.
now I criticized that guy
Yeah.
for recruiting Cleveland, and I told you it was weird, and ultimately
Yeah.
it worked.
Yeah, you're right.
At the end of the day, it did work. Tyvus,
But I will say, I didn't. You were right.
I was 100% right, but
It was
it worked.
a great job by him going to the school, and anytime a player gets in the community and tries to help out, kudos to them, and we don't recognize it enough because, it's not a sexy topic, but it's a great job by him to do that.
so I wanted to make sure we played the clip. Did a great job. And with that, and I'm glad we kind of took that pivot. That was really interesting, the sourcing and that kind of stuff. But the question I put in the rundown based off this stuff was, so far he's done everything right. He's hit a complete home run in terms of just doing the right stuff in the 3 days he's been here since being drafted. If it pans out on the field as well, where do you think Shedeur could rank on the most popular Cleveland athletes of, like, the last 50 years? Like, would he catapult, if it goes well in the field, up into that LeBron stratosphere?
If he ball on the field, where he gonna be? Oh my good, it'd be LeBron Shedeur.
yeah.
Easily.
Yeah,
There's
you're the
nobody
Browns
else.
quarterback and you play great.
Yeah, there's nobody else. It's LeBron, and then it would be Shedeur. I know Donovan Mitchell's great. Myles Garrett has been great. Jose has been great. Baker was great. Frankie Lindor, all of them. He will jump every last one of them and be second on the list.
Yes. Baker
easily.
Baker won one playoff game, and he was the most popular Cleveland athlete at the time.
Yeah.
I mean,
Nick
Flacco
Chubb,
threw
great.
two pick
Flacco,
sixes
yeah,
in a playoff game.
Yeah,
and it was wildly popular.
That's right. If you're and it has nothing to do with Shedeur, whatever quarterback. If you're good as quarterback for the Browns, you're going to be the most popular guy in Cleveland. That's it.
Yeah.
End of conversation.
Who else, just out of curiosity, because I haven't been here long enough to know.
Yeah.
It's LeBron 1. The last 20 years, how would you put the next 2, 3, 4,
Joe
5?
Thomas.
Right now?
No, just of the last 20 years at their
Yeah,
peak.
but guys ebb and flow. I mean, Baker at the time.
At their peak, though. I'm saying at their peak.
Baker's probably 2.
Yeah.
Baker's
too.
I'm going to say this. You're going to say I'm crazy. Baker at his peak was ahead of LeBron.
No.
LeBron wasn't here anymore.
No.
But you're still judging.
LeBron at his
Mike said at the time.
LeBron at his
I mean, in
peak
the
was
last
winning
20
the
years, at their
championship.
peak in Cleveland.
LeBron's peak.
Oh, I see what you're
Baker's
saying.
peak.
Okay.
Yeah. And everyone's
All right,
peak.
I thought you meant at the time of his peak.
No.
Yeah, LeBron.
Baker.
Baker'd probably be 2.
No, Kyrie 2. No?
No.
Come on. When the Cavs won the championship?
Kyrie was a very
Baker was
popular
2.
guy.
Baker was 2.
But
Kyrie would.
All right, Baker 2,
the
Kyrie
thing.
3.
This the thing. Like, people was upset by the Kyrie request.
Right, but Mike said it at their peak.
At the
before
time.
he left.
And he hit the biggest shot in franchise history.
Yes.
And Baker did not, but I'd still put Baker 2.
Baker won a playoff game, though. Woo!
I know.
That's like the Super Bowl
I know,
right now.
I know.
Gets the hideous
biggest
season.
shot in franchise history to win a championship, first round playoff game. But
It's a football town.
I'd put Baker 2.
Yeah, I think I probably
Kyrie
would. I put
I
Kyrie
mean,
3.
Joe Flacco might be 4.
Chubb's really high up there.
Chubb's up there.
Chubb's really high up.
Yeah.
He's top 5.
Phil Dawson.
Joe
Lindor, Phil
Thomas.
Dawson.
Lindor.
Frankie Lindor was up there.
Yeah, but he wasn't top 5.
Nah,
It's a baseball thing, unfortunately.
No, yeah.
He deserved to be,
You know who was very popular too? Joe Hayden.
Joe was very loved, yeah.
but not in this category that we're talking about.
No.
I mean, Miles and Chubb would be up there.
Yeah. I think Chubb is the most popular Brown since, except for Baker.
Consistently,
Yeah.
like consistent over a long
Yeah.
period of time. Probably Nick.
Nick Chubb is the only. Here's what I'd say. Nick Chubb is the only player in the last 20 years, maybe just him and Joe Thomas, that have no detractors. None. LeBron has detractors. Kyrie certainly does.
Are you talking about in Cleveland?
In Cleveland, yeah. You know, Baker, not everybody loved Baker. You know, Nick Chubb had no detractors. None. Myles Garrett had detractors.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd agree
Joe
with that.
Hayden didn't have detractors.
That's true, he didn't, but he wasn't as popular as Nick Chubb.
He was like the best.
Although Joe was
player.
Mr. Cleveland.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Joe was one of the best representatives. Lindor was a great representative of the city, too. I know people are, were down on him because he left, but
Does Jose have any detractors?
Yes.
they're starting to become.
His postseason numbers.
Yeah. There are some Jose haters. Not a large.